Greetings and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be talking about some spooky books to read during the spooky season, but they're for scaredy cats, okay? They're for those of us who don't actually want to be scared and get scared very easily. So, spooky books for scaredy cats. Let's do this. Hello, how are you? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited to be filming this video. Fall is upon us, my friends, and it's so wonderful and lovely. And every year, around this time of year, I always want to read like paranormal romances and like very autumnal reads. But the thing is I'm a little bit of a scaredy cat. I cannot read horror, thriller, anything gory, anything with like a jump scare, suspense. I will have nightmares. I'm a big old scaredy cat. Okay, ask anyone who knows me in real life. They will tell you I'm afraid of my own shadow. Like, I just am. So I cannot read the gory things. But these books that I'm going to be talking about have a little bit of like a suspense to them. They're a little spooky. They have a little bit of a mystery to them. Really good to read during the fall season if you kind of just want to like dip your toe into the like autumnal spooky vibe, you know what I mean? And also these recommendations are a little bit different than what I normally talk on my channel because I predominantly read romance, and I don't think any of these I would classify as a romance. So these are also some books outside of the romance genre that I really love and highly recommend. Okay, so the very first two that I'm going to be recommending are by the same author. His name is John Mars, and let me preface this by saying I highly recommend the audiobooks for both of these books. So the first one is called The Passengers. So what this one is it follows a futuristic world that's not so far in the future. We have cars that are auto-driving themselves, right? So in this world, everybody has a car that drives itself. There's like not even a steering wheel in these cars. These cars essentially are supposed to be better for the environment, also better to minimize traffic and traffic accidents, and it's this world where everyone is driving these high-tech cars. Follow our set of characters, the group of passengers who get in the car, and they're all headed towards different destinations, and it turns out that their cars have been hacked. There's a group of people who have hacked their cars and let them know that they only have a few hours to live, that by the end of this, all of their destinations will end up at the same spot and they will collide, crash, and die. They have to decide the one person that they are going to save. Only one person out of this group of passengers will live, and the entire world is watching this on the news and also casting their vote on who should die and who should live. And it's like this wild social commentary because all of these characters come from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, and it's just so interesting. I love the audiobook so much is because it's a full cast of characters, so each character has its own voice and every point of view switches between each character, and every single chapter ends in a cliffhanger. You're literally on the edge of your seat the entire book. It's so well written, and I think I read this one because of Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings. I did do a reading vlog for this book where I read this book with my dad, so I will leave that reading vlog down below if you're interested. This author that I really loved was TheOne. These two books can be read as standalones, but they take place in the same universe, in the same world, so it's just better if you read them together. So this one is called TheOne, and this one is kind of like a dating app where they're able to find you your actual biological soulmates. So a woman created this company where she takes blood samples, your DNA samples, and she matches it with everyone in the world, and she finds like your biological soulmate, the person that you're meant to be with. All of our characters have kind of entered into this database to find their soulmate, and it follows all of their stories. There's a married couple who like enter into the database just to make themselves feel better and say like they are real soulmates, and they turn out not to be a match. There is one that a cop ends up matching with a serial killer. Obviously, she does not know he's a serial killer, and that little pairing right there is quite suspenseful and keeps you on the edge of your seat. Again, each point of view is told in a different character's point of view. Each one ends in a cliffhanger, and it is a full cast of characters, so it's so immersive. I absolutely loved this book. It was so interesting to see it play out, and like the crazy things people would do for love is kind of the commentary. I don't want to spoil it because there is quite a few twists at the end, but I just highly, highly recommend both of these books by John Marrs. So the next book that I want to recommend is Strange Grace by Tessa Gratton. This is probably the closest to a romance that you're going to get in this recommendation list. I have talked about this book endlessly because it's actually one of my top 5 favorite books of all time. So just the vibe of this book is so spooky and delicious. It follows 3 sets of characters. They come from a small town that bargains with the devil. So years ago, the witches of the town made a sacrifice to the devil and basically made a bargain that every couple of years they would have something called the Slaughter Moon, which means that a boy from the town would be sacrificed and a part of this race called the Slaughter Moon, where the devil could kind of take him as their own. And because of this deal, their town is more prosperous, very successful, none of them get sick, and they're all kind of protected by this bargain. Well, the devil seems to be less and less satisfied every year, and the Slaughter Moon comes closer and closer. It follows our 3 characters. One of our characters is a witch. The other character is one of the runners that is supposed to be sacrificed into the forest. And then the 3rd character is someone who's also very drawn to the forest as well. And the 3 of them try to figure out the secrets of the town and fix it and save each other. They also have a little bit of a polyamorous romance going on. All 3 of our characters are in a relationship and connected both emotionally and physically. This is YA, so it's not super steamy, but it's such a gorgeous, gorgeous book, and I feel like every time I talk about it, I never do it justice because it's so complex and it's so wonderful. Next 2 are by the same author, and that is Sean and McGuire. I love their books so much. So they have a series called the Wayward Children series, I think it's what it's called. The very first one is Every Heart a Doorway. What this series is, it is a series of books, shorter novellas, that follow different kids who have found doors. And what these doors are places that can transport them to other realms. The story kind of takes you to a different realm. There's one that's like the underworld, which is what you see kind of like in the very first book, and each kid has their own story, and it's just like this magical series. All of these kids have discovered doors to other worlds, but some of them can't go back to those worlds. Some of them are stuck in those worlds and they don't want to be. So it's just so lovely. Like, I adore this series so much. First book, our heroine Nancy comes from one of those doors. It's kind of like the underworld that she came from, and she loved it and she misses it, and she's just wanting to go back, but she doesn't know how to find her way back. She ends up going to this school that houses other kids who have experienced some of the same stuff that she has. In the school, one of the kids is murdered and she has to figure out who did it. So that's kind of like the spooky element to it. I love this series. You don't have to read all of them in order, but I do just recommend this series in general. My favorite from the series is Down Among the Sticks and Bones, and this follows Jack and Jill, who are twins, and they have always been the exact opposite of each other. Their parents made one of them super girly and the other more of like a tomboy, and they've hated the roles that they were placed in, and finally they find this magical door that takes them to a place that has vampires and werewolves and monsters and mad scientists, and it's so interesting. I highly recommend it. So the next one I want to talk about is Inspection by Josh Mallerman. Again, I really liked the audiobook for this one as well. So in this, it's so hard to describe. I feel like I'm not giving these books any type of justice. So this follows the alphabet boys, and each boy is named after the letter of the alphabet, and they all live in this like compound where they're like hyper focused on learning, advanced learning, mathematics, language arts, things like that. They are very isolated. They don't even know that a world outside of this compound exists. And to be more specific, they don't know that the other gender exists. So the mad scientist who kind of like isolated these boys basically believes that their capability to learn is hindered by lust and affection for the other gender, female and male. Which is such a narrow-minded way of thinking. So in this book, one of the boys actually ends up seeing a girl. So it turns out that they have like their compound of the alphabet boy. There's another compound of the alphabet girls, and they meet and everything kind of comes tumbling down. All of the dark secrets come tumbling down. It is such an interesting book. Little like sci-fi, mad scientist, kind of spooky vibes, and I really did enjoy this one, so I highly recommend it. Of course, if you're trying to read spooky books but you get scared very easily, I would highly recommend any cozy mysteries. I have tons of cozy mystery content on my channel where I do hauls. I have hauled a bunch of cozy mysteries. I've given recommendations. Host a cozy mystery book club called Teacups and Murder, where every season we pick a new cozy mystery to read. So yeah, highly recommend cozy mysteries for the fall season. And if you like that mystery aspect, that whodunit vibe where you're interested in like finding out who committed the murder, but you don't want things to be gory or just suspenseful and super spooky. So to compare cozy mysteries to Hallmark movies, they give you that cozy vibe, but you're also getting that little suspense of trying to figure out who did the murder. If you were a beginner in cozy mysteries, I would always recommend Ellie Alexander. This is the Bake Shop mystery series. Heroine Juliet worked on a cruise with her husband, but she's having some marital problems, so she decides to go back to her small hometown in Oregon that specializes in Shakespeare-themed businesses. Town performs a lot of Shakespearean plays that people come and travel to see. Her mom owns a bake shop there that is also Shakespearean themed, so she decides to help her mom with the bake shop, and as she gets there, bum bum bum, there is a murder and she needs to figure out who did it and save her family business. So this one is really awesome. Another one that I think is so good for the autumnal season is Homicide in hardcover by Kate Carlisle. And this one, our heroine's job is to restore old books. She restores classic books, and her mentor ends up getting a book that's supposedly cursed, that everyone who has had this book has died or been cursed in one way or another, and she finds her mentor in a pool of his own blood, clutching the book, telling her to take it. So she has to figure out who did it and also discover like the secret of this cursed book. So this one is another series. It has a couple in this series that follows our heroine, and it also has like a side romance. So this one is another good one. If you really like Kate Carlisle, she has the Fixer Upper mystery series, which is a cozy mystery home renovation series. One in particular is called Deck the Hallways, so it's a Christmas themed cozy mystery, but I think these are also really good. Right, those are just a few cozy mysteries. I will do more videos on those recommendations because this wasn't really a cozy mystery video, but I hope you guys enjoyed these recommendations. I know it's a little bit different from my romance videos, so I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. As always, thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!